Congressman Stokes will be inducting the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss, Jr. Congressman Stokes served 15 consecutive terms in the United States Congress, representing the 11th Congressional District of Ohio. He was the first African American elected to Congress for the state of Ohio. He's led numerous House committees, received a myriad of awards, including in 2011, he was inducted into the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame. Congressman Stokes.
Thank you very much. I am honored to have been asked to be the inductor for Reverend Dr. Otis Moss, Jr., who is one of the inductees tonight for the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. It is fitting that you have chosen to induct into this Hall of Fame a man who has indeed earned this distinction as a scholar, writer, civil rights leader, and preacher. He has also been a leader in the Cleveland community. We have greatly benefited by his service to both our religious and our civic community. Additionally, the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss, Jr. is a preacher with a golden voice and a brilliant mind who has preached in pulpits all over the world. Our honoree comes from a very humble beginning, which accounts for his humbleness and humility today. Born in LaGrange, Georgia, he attended Morehouse College, where he received his Bachelor of Arts degree, followed by a master's degree from the Morehouse School of Religion, Interdenominational Theological Center, and a Doctor of Ministry degree from the United Theological Seminary. He began his career as a pastor in the Mount Olive Baptist Church in LaGrange, Georgia. He later served as a pastor of Atlanta's Providence Baptist Church, the Mount Zion Baptist Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. And in 1971, he served as co-pastor with Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., the father of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., at the famous Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1975, he came to Cleveland to pastor Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, from which he retired after 33 years in which he distinguished himself as one of the leading ministers in our nation. Dr. Moss is most proud that two of the men who profoundly affected his life are the legendary Dr. Benjamin E. Mays and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., with whom he worked and marched for freedom and for justice. He is equally proud of his distinguished wife, Edwina, and their children, Kevin, Daphne, now deceased, and Reverend Otis Moss III. 3 years ago, when he retired, Dr. Moss gave his last sermon as pastor of Olivet Institutional Baptist Church. Over the years, many of us have come to love to hear Dr. Moss's eloquent sermons. John C. Cooner, a Plain Dealer reporter covering his last sermon, described it, and I quote his words. He began in a resonant, comforting voice. telling bedtime stories to ease his children to sleep. But the Reverend Otis Moss Jr.'s message of faith in God and hope for the future grew to a soulful crescendo. Close quotes. Later in the same article, the reporter stated what most of us who have worked with Dr. Moss already knew. The reporter said, and I quote him again, "More than 3,000 people packed the church on Quincy Avenue in Cleveland to hear the farewell homily of a preacher who may count among the most influential in American history." Close quotes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present for induction into the Cleveland International Hall of Fame the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss Jr.